Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I wanted to do a quick tutorial on how you can make an embroidered bookmark corner. If you want to follow along to this tutorial, I do have a pattern that I've linked below in the description if you want to get the template and also the bee embroidery that I do in this tutorial. You could easily also create your own design from this video and just kind of follow along loosely with what I'm doing as well. I cut out a 4x4 square out of fabric on the fold, and then I flipped it inside out and used my sewing machine to sew around it. I did that with about a 1/4 inch margin around it, and then I left a little gap so that I could flip the fabric right side out. I trimmed the edges a little bit more, and I also trimmed the corners so that way they are a little bit crisper when you flip it inside out. I ended up using an awl. You could use a pencil or something with a fine tip on it to poke the corners out. I went ahead and pressed it because it was kind of wrinkly and, wasn't looking super great. So I went ahead and pressed it with the iron, and then I went back with my sewing machine and did a top stitch along the outline. I am not the best sewer in the world, so my stitches were slightly uneven, but I tried my best and I tried to just keep it as even as possible. Now that that is done, I am going to set that aside, and then I went ahead with the embroidery portion of the project. I'm using wool felt for this, so I wanted to use a method to transfer the pattern over that was going to be easy. So I'm using water-soluble stick and stitch. I think this is best for felt because you can't really use marker or pens super easily on felt. It just doesn't show up as well just due to the nature of the fabric. So I went ahead and used that. I cut it out and stuck it on, and the pattern that I've created is sized so that you can just print it directly from your printer and then stick it on and stitch it. I embroidered this fun little bee pattern for mine, and it uses the technique of thread painting, which uses the long and short stitch to kind of subtly blend colors together. It's a pretty beginner friendly pattern. It's not super complicated, and I wanted it to be somewhat, realistic, semi-realistic looking, but not anything crazy. And I really enjoyed stitching it, and it only took me about 45 minutes to create, so it's not a super long pattern to complete. It would be a great pattern for, a weekend project or anything like that. Once I had finished the bee up, I went ahead and cut out along the template that I had marked on the stencil, and then because this is water soluble, you just have to basically dunk it in water. I find that it dissolves easier in kind of warm water, and you have to kind of rub it and try to remove any of the debris from the stencil. Once I washed it off, I let the felt dry for a couple of hours, and then I went ahead and attached the two pieces together. I lined them up and I did a blanket stitch along the edge using a few strands of yellow floss. I wanted to do a color that kind of matched the bee and looked good with the fabric, and I think it looks pretty cute. And yeah, here's how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. I will leave the link to the pattern below if you're interested in stitching it as well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.